Have you ever been insulted and felt completely powerless? Someone attacks you with words designed to hurt, to diminish, to destroy your confidence. And in that moment, you feel the urge to attack back, to defend yourself desperately, or worse, to stay silent while their words burn inside you. But what if I told you there's a different way? A way to respond that completely disarms the insult, protects your dignity, and leaves the other person with nothing to say. Today, I will reveal 7 calm responses that disarm any insult. These aren't weak replies. These aren't about pretending insults don't hurt or avoiding confrontation. These are powerful Stoic tools that transform you from a victim of insults into someone completely untouchable. And pay close attention to response number 5, because when you use it correctly, even the most vicious insult loses all its power. The Stoics faced insults that would destroy most people. Marcus Aurelius was mocked by senators who called him weak. Epictetus was insulted and beaten as a slave. Seneca was publicly humiliated before being forced into exile. Yet, none of them lost their composure. They understood something most people never learned. An insult only has the power you give it. And when you respond with calm intelligence instead of emotional reaction, you reveal who truly holds the power. While most people crumble under insults, lose their minds when attacked, and carry the wounds for days or years, you can respond differently. You can disarm any insult completely while maintaining your peace, your dignity, and your strength. If you master these 7 responses, insults will never again have power over you. Before we begin, go to the comments and write, "Words cannot diminish me. I am Stoic." Don't skip any of these responses, especially the last one, which transforms how you see insults forever. If you find value in this video, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and activate notifications. Let's begin. Response 1. Thank you for sharing your perspective. The first calm response that disarms any insult is simple yet devastatingly effective. When someone insults you, you look at them calmly and say thank you for sharing your perspective. Just that, nothing more. Watch what happens. This response is powerful because it does something the insulter never expects. It treats their carefully crafted attack as if it were neutral information, not a compliment, not an insult, just a perspective they've shared. This complete refusal to engage with the insult as an insult strips it of all power. Epictetus taught if someone speaks badly of you, consider whether what they say is true. If it is, correct yourself. If it isn't, laugh at them. This response embodies that teaching. You're acknowledging they spoke, but you're not validating their words as truth or even as worthy of defense. Imagine someone says you're incompetent, and everyone knows it. Most people would either defend themselves desperately or attack back with equal venom. But you do neither. You simply say with genuine calm thank you for sharing your perspective and move on with the conversation or leave entirely. What just happened? The insulter expected an emotional reaction. They wanted to see hurt, anger, or desperate defense. These reactions would prove their insult landed, would give them satisfaction, would confirm their power over you. But your calm thank you gives them nothing. No satisfaction, no confirmation, no power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." This response is that choice made visible. You've chosen to treat their insult as mere opinion, not as truth that requires your emotional investment. Here's what makes this response even more powerful. It's completely respectful. You're not insulting them back. You're not being sarcastic, though they might search for sarcasm in your tone. You're genuinely thanking them for sharing what they think, the same way you'd thank someone for telling you the time. This neutrality is disarming. The insulter is now in an impossible position. If they escalate, they look increasingly unhinged while you remain composed. If they stop, they've failed to provoke you. Either way, you've won without fighting. Seneca understood this perfectly. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By responding with thank you for sharing your perspective, you're creating infinite delay. You're not engaging with the insult emotionally at all. You've postponed the fight indefinitely, and in doing so, you've ended it. Here's your practice. The next time someone insults you, resist every urge to defend or attack. Take a breath. Look at them calmly. Say thank you for sharing your perspective. Then either continue with the actual topic of conversation or leave. Don't explain. Don't justify. Just thank them and move on. You'll notice something remarkable. Most insults will be completely thrown off. They'll stumble, try to rephrase their insult more clearly, or just fall silent, because you've refused to play their game and they don't know how to proceed. This response also protects you from second-guessing yourself later. You didn't say anything you'll regret. You didn't lower yourself to their level. You maintained complete dignity while rendering their attack powerless. That's true strength. If you're ready to disarm insults with calm gratitude, write in the comments, "Thank you for sharing your perspective." Because when you treat insults like opinions, they lose their sting completely. Response 2. I can see this topic matters deeply to you. The second calm response that disarms any insult is, I can see this topic matters deeply to you. This response is brilliant because it shifts focus from their insult to their emotional state. You're not defending yourself. You're observing them. And that shift changes everything. When someone insults you, they're usually trying to make you feel small so they can feel big. They are operating from their own pain, insecurity, or need for dominance. This response acknowledges that without validating their insult. It says, I see you're emotionally invested in this, without accepting their characterization of you. Epictetus taught, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. An insult is always someone looking outside themselves, trying to build themselves up by tearing you down. When you respond with, I can see this topic matters deeply to you, you're gently pointing out their emotional investment without making it an attack. Imagine someone says, you're such a failure. You've never accomplished anything worthwhile. Instead of listing your accomplishments defensively or attacking their failures, you respond calmly. I can see this topic matters deeply to you. What have you done? You've acknowledged their passion about the topic without accepting their judgment. You've made the conversation about their emotional state, rather than your supposed failings. And most importantly, you've demonstrated that you're not emotionally reactive. You're observant, calm, and analytical. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When someone insults you with heat and emotion, responding with cool observation is the ultimate demonstration of this principle. You're showing that you operate on a completely different level. This response also does something subtle but powerful. It treats the insulter with a kind of clinical interest, as if you're a therapist observing a patient's emotional reaction. This puts you in the position of power, the observer rather than the observed, the analyst rather than the analyzed. The insulter wanted to make you the subject of criticism. But with one calm sentence, you've made them the subject of observation. They're the ones having the emotional reaction. You're the one staying calm and noticing it. The power dynamic is completely reversed. Seneca faced many political enemies who insulted him publicly. He understood that their insults revealed far more about them than about him. He wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Their insults were friction that revealed his composure, making his strength more obvious to everyone watching. Here's what's crucial about this response. Your tone must be genuinely curious and compassionate, not sarcastic or condescending. If you say it with mockery, it becomes an attack. But if you say it with authentic observation, it's simply a statement of fact that happens to disarm their insult completely. This response works particularly well with people who insult you because they're passionate about a topic and conflate disagreement with personal attack. When you acknowledge their passion without accepting their insult, you create space for the conversation to shift from attack to dialogue if they're capable of it. Here's your practice. When someone insults you, look for the emotion behind it. What are they really upset about? Then respond, I can see this topic matters deeply to you, or I can see you feel strongly about this. Say it calmly, genuinely, without sarcasm. You'll notice the insulter often pauses. They expected defense or counterattack. Your calm observation catches them completely off guard. Some will de-escalate immediately. Others will try to insult you again, but with less conviction because you've already demonstrated you're not playing their game. This response also protects you from absorbing the insult. By focusing on their emotional state rather than their words about you, you naturally maintain distance from the attack. You're not taking it personally because you're too busy noticing their pattern of behavior. If you're ready to shift focus from their insult to their emotion, write in the comments, I observe emotions. I don't absorb attacks. Because when you respond to the emotion behind the insult, rather than the insult itself, you disarm it completely. Response 3. Is there something specific you need from me? The third calm response that disarms any insult, and this is one of the most powerful, is there something specific you need from me? This question is like a scalpel. It cuts through the insult to expose what's really happening underneath. Most insults are disguised requests. The person is frustrated, needs something, feels unheard, or wants control. But instead of expressing that directly, they attack. This response invites them to state their actual need, which immediately renders the insult unnecessary. Epictetus taught, don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly. Applied to insults, this means don't wish people would stop insulting you. Instead, look beneath the insult to what they actually need, then address that directly. Imagine someone says, you're always late. You don't respect anyone's time. You're completely selfish. Instead of defending your punctuality or attacking their judgment, you respond calmly. Is there something specific you need from me? Watch what happens. They're forced to move from vague attacks to specific requests. Maybe they say, I need you to be on time for meetings. Perfect. Now you're having a productive conversation about behavior, not a destructive argument about character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? When you ask someone what they specifically need, you're inviting them to do this self-examination, to get specific, to move from attacking to requesting. This response disarms insults by refusing to engage with them as insults. Instead, you're treating the insulter as someone who has a legitimate need they're expressing poorly. This is generous without being weak, compassionate without being a doormat. Here's the key. You're not accepting their insult. You're bypassing it entirely. You're saying, let's skip the attack and get to what you actually want. This demonstrates remarkable emotional intelligence and control. Seneca understood that most conflict comes from poor communication. People want something but don't know how to ask for it directly, so they attack instead. He wrote, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Even when someone insults you, you can respond with the kindness of helping them express their actual need. This response works especially well in professional settings or with family members. Your boss insults your competence. Is there something specific you need from me regarding this project? Your family member attacks your choices. Is there something specific you need from me to feel more comfortable? By asking this question, you're also calling out the manipulation inherent in insults. You're saying, if you want something from me, ask directly. Insults won't get you what you want. This is boundary setting disguised as a helpful question. Here's your practice. The next time someone insults you, pause before reacting emotionally. Ask yourself, what might they actually need that they're expressing through this attack? Then ask them directly, is there something specific you need from me? You'll find that many insulters are completely unprepared for this question. They were ready for a fight, not for problem solving. Some will recognize their insult was ineffective and actually state their need. Others will sputter and retreat because they realize they don't have a specific need. They just wanted to attack. Either way, you've won. You've exposed the insult as either poorly communicated need or baseless attack. And you've done it without losing your calm, defending yourself desperately, or lowering yourself to their level. This response also prevents you from getting hooked by the insult. By immediately moving to what do you need, you skip right past the emotional reaction. You don't have time to feel hurt because you're too busy being solution-focused. If you're ready to expose the need behind the insult, write in the comments, I address needs, not attacks. Because most insults crumble when you ask what the person actually wants. Response 4. You're entitled to your opinion. The fourth calm response that disarms any insult is the simple statement, you're entitled to your opinion. This response is powerful because it acknowledges their right to think whatever they want while completely refusing to validate their opinion as truth. When someone insults you, they're stating their opinion about you as if it were fact. You're stupid. You're worthless. You're a failure. These are opinions, but they're presented as objective truth. This response reminds everyone, including the insulter, that what they said is just their subjective view, nothing more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. He understood that other people's judgments are always filtered through their own experiences, biases, and limitations. Their insult says more about their perspective than about your reality. Imagine someone insults you publicly, saying, you're incompetent, and everyone knows it. Instead of defending your competence or demanding to know who everyone is, you simply respond, you're entitled to your opinion, and continue with what you were doing. What just happened? You've acknowledged they spoke without giving their words any weight. You've treated their declaration as mere opinion rather than truth requiring defense. And you've done it with complete calm, showing everyone that their insult didn't even slightly disturb your peace. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When someone insults you, that's what happens. When you calmly state they're entitled to their opinion, that's how you react. Your reaction demonstrates strength, composure, and complete immunity to their attack. This response is particularly effective because it's completely unassailable. You're not arguing with them. You're not insulting them back. You're simply acknowledging a basic truth. They can think whatever they want. But that acknowledgement carries an implicit message. Their opinion doesn't affect me. Seneca faced constant criticism and insults in Roman politics. He understood that trying to change everyone's opinion of you is exhausting and impossible. He wrote, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The insult itself doesn't hurt you. Only your reaction to it can. When you respond, you're entitled to your opinion. You're demonstrating that you've chosen not to suffer over their words. They can think whatever they want. You remain undisturbed. That's freedom. Here's what makes this response especially powerful in group settings. When someone insults you in front of others and you calmly say, "You're entitled to your opinion," everyone watching sees the contrast. They see someone losing composure to attack, and they see you maintaining composure in response. Guess who they respect more? The insulter wanted to make you look bad, but your calm response makes them look aggressive, and you look strong. You flipped their strategy against them without saying a single aggressive word. Here's your practice. The next time someone insults you, resist the urge to argue about whether their opinion is correct. Instead, simply acknowledge you're entitled to your opinion, or that's one way to see it, and move on. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just acknowledge and proceed. You'll notice something liberating. When you stop trying to change people's opinions of you, you free yourself from their judgment. They can think you're wonderful or terrible, and either way, you remain the same person living according to your own values. This response also prevents endless arguments. If you engage with "No, I'm not stupid. Let me prove it," you're accepting that their opinion matters and must be changed. But if you say, "You're entitled to your opinion," you're declaring that their opinion is irrelevant to your self-concept. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." Don't make this mistake. Value your opinion of yourself more than anyone's insult. If you're ready to acknowledge others' opinions without absorbing them, write in the comments, "Your opinion doesn't define me." Because when you truly understand that insults are just opinions, they lose all power. Response 5. I appreciate your honesty. The fifth calm response that disarms any insult, and this one is particularly sophisticated. It's, "I appreciate your honesty." This response transforms the insult into feedback you're grateful for, which completely neutralizes its intended effect. When someone insults you, they expect hurt, anger, or defense. They don't expect gratitude. By thanking them for their honesty, you've taken their weapon and turned it into a gift. Not because you believe their insult is true, but because you're demonstrating that nothing they say can disturb your peace. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. He understood that other people's negative opinions are often the price of growth and authenticity. When you appreciate someone's honesty in insulting you, you're showing that you're content to let them think whatever they want. Imagine someone says, "You're arrogant," and nobody actually likes you. Instead of defending yourself or attacking them, you respond calmly, "I appreciate your honesty." Then you either continue the conversation on a different topic or you leave. Nothing more. What have you done? You've completely refused to fight. You've treated their hostile judgment as if it were constructive feedback. This does two things. First, it shows you're secure enough that their opinion doesn't threaten you. Second, it makes them look petty for attacking someone who just thanked them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He prepared himself daily for negativity from others. He didn't take it personally because he expected it. His gratitude for honesty, even harsh honesty, came from this expectation. This response is powerful because it reframes the entire interaction. The insulter thought they were attacking you, but you've received their attack as honest feedback. They can't argue that they weren't being honest without admitting they were just trying to hurt you. Either way, they're exposed. Seneca understood that perspective determines suffering. He wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction." When you appreciate someone's harsh honesty, you're treating their insult as friction that polishes you, rather than a blow that harms you. This mental reframe is liberating. Here's what's crucial about this response. You must say it with genuine, calm, even genuine gratitude. If there's sarcasm in your voice, it becomes a subtle attack. But if you can truly thank them for their honesty, you've demonstrated mastery over your ego and emotions. This response works especially well with people who genuinely believe they're being helpful with their criticism, even when it comes out as an insult. By appreciating their honesty, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt while protecting yourself from the sting of their words. Here's your practice. The next time someone insults you, take a breath and genuinely consider whether there's any truth in what they said. If there is, you can learn from it. If there isn't, you can dismiss it. Either way, respond, "I appreciate your honesty," and mean it. You'll find this response incredibly disarming. The insulter expected a fight. You gave them gratitude. They're completely unprepared. Most will soften immediately. Some will even apologize, realizing their delivery was too harsh. Others will be confused but unable to continue attacking someone who just thanked them. This response also protects your inner peace. By choosing to appreciate rather than resent, you prevent the insult from creating bitterness. You've transformed a potential wound into a moment of demonstrating strength. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal and criticism throughout his reign. He could have become bitter, angry, or defensive. Instead, he wrote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, I will encounter busybodies, ingrates, the arrogant, the deceitful, the envious, and the antisocial. They can't hurt me." His appreciation for truth, even harsh truth, made him invulnerable. If you're ready to transform insults into opportunities for gratitude, write in the comments, "I appreciate honesty, even when harsh." Because when you can thank someone for insulting you, you've achieved true freedom from their judgment. Response 6. What led you to that conclusion? The sixth calm response that disarms any insult is asking them to explain their reasoning. That's an interesting perspective. It's, "What led you to that conclusion?" This response is devastatingly effective because it forces the insulter to justify something that's usually baseless. Most insults are emotional reactions, not logical conclusions. When you ask someone to explain the reasoning behind their insult, you're exposing the fact that there isn't any. They just attacked you because they're upset, threatened, or trying to dominate. Now, they have to either admit that or try to create logic retroactively. Epictetus taught, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." When you ask an insulter what led them to their conclusion, you're inviting them to follow this advice. Usually, they'll realize they spoke before thinking. Their insult had no real foundation. Imagine someone says, "You're incompetent, and you don't belong in this role." Instead of defending your competence or attacking their judgment, you respond with genuine curiosity. That's an interesting perspective. What specifically led you to that conclusion? Watch what happens. They now have to provide evidence for their attack. Maybe they can point to one mistake you made. You can address that specific issue. More likely they'll fumble, unable to justify a statement that was pure emotion. Either way, you've moved from emotional attack to rational discussion, where you have the advantage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." By asking what led someone to their conclusion, you're making this distinction visible. You're saying, "I hear your opinion. Now explain the perspective that created it." This response disarms insults by treating them as hypotheses, to be examined rather than truths to be accepted or rejected. You're neither defending nor attacking. You're investigating. This calm, analytical approach demonstrates that you're operating from reason, not emotion. Seneca understood that most people's judgments are poorly thought out. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When you ask someone to explain what led them to insult you, you're often exposing that their insult came from imagination, assumption, or projection rather than reality. Here's what makes this response particularly powerful. It puts the burden of proof on the insulter. They made a claim about you. Now they have to support it. Most can't. In their fumbling attempt to justify their insult, they often reveal the real issue, which usually has nothing to do with you. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they felt threatened. Maybe they're projecting their own insecurity. Whatever it is, when you calmly ask them to explain their reasoning, the truth often comes out. And that truth usually has nothing to do with the insult they leveled at you. Here's your practice. When someone insults you, respond with genuine curiosity what led you to that conclusion, or what specifically makes you say that. Ask it calmly, as if you're truly interested in understanding their thinking process. You'll find that most insulters are completely unprepared for this question. They expected defense, not curiosity. They have to either make up reasons on the spot, admit they have no real reasons, or actually examine why they attacked you. All three outcomes favor you. This response also protects you from internalizing the insult. By focusing on their reasoning process rather than their conclusion about you, you naturally maintain distance from the attack. You're studying their thought process, not accepting their judgment. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. When criticized, he would examine whether the criticism had merit. If it did, he corrected himself. If it didn't, he dismissed it. His question was always what led them to this conclusion, not, am I hurt by this? But what's the reasoning here? If you're ready to examine insults with curiosity rather than emotion, write in the comments, I question with calm, not react with hurt, because when you ask for reasoning, most insults collapse under examination. Response 7. I understand you feel that way. The seventh and final calm response that disarms any insult is, I understand you feel that way. This response is the ultimate expression of Stoic detachment. You're acknowledging their feelings without accepting their judgment, validating their experience without internalizing their attack. When someone insults you, they're expressing how they feel. Their insult reveals their emotional state, not your objective reality. This response recognizes that distinction perfectly. You understand they feel you're incompetent, selfish, or whatever they claim. That's their feeling. It doesn't have to become your belief. Epictetus taught the fundamental Stoic principle: we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. Someone's feeling about you is an external circumstance. Your response to it is your choice. This response chooses understanding without agreement, acknowledgement without absorption. Imagine someone says, you're selfish, and you only care about yourself. Instead of listing all the ways you've helped others or attacking their character, you simply respond, I understand you feel that way. Then you either continue with productive conversation or end the interaction. Nothing more. What have you done? You validated their right to feel however they feel, while completely refusing to accept their feeling as the truth about you. They can feel you're selfish. That's their experience. But their experience doesn't define your reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Someone's feelings about you are outside events. You have no power over them, but you have complete power over whether you let their feelings disturb your peace. This response is powerful because it's completely non-combative while being utterly self-protective. You're not arguing. You're not defending. You're not attacking. You're just acknowledging their feelings exist while maintaining your own sense of self, separate from their judgment. Seneca faced exile, loss of power, and eventually forced suicide. Through it all, he maintained his composure because he understood that other people's feelings about him, even emperors' feelings, didn't change who he was. He wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. When you respond to insults with, 'I understand you feel that way,' you're treating the insult as friction that reveals your polish, rather than a verdict that defines your worth. The insulter's feelings are their burden to carry. You're simply acknowledging they exist without picking up that burden yourself. Here's what makes this response especially effective. It's almost impossible to continue attacking someone who keeps calmly saying they understand how you feel. The insulter wanted conflict. You're giving them understanding. This completely dismantles their strategy. They might try escalating. You don't understand. You really are selfish. You respond again, calmly. I understand you feel that way. Eventually they realize they're fighting alone. You're not joining the battle, and a fight requires two people. This response also prevents the endless cycle of defense and counterattack. When you defend yourself, you're implicitly accepting that their judgment matters. When you attack back, you've lowered yourself to their level. But when you simply understand they feel a certain way, you've exited the entire dynamic. Here's your practice. The next time someone insults you, take a breath and recognize they're expressing their feelings. Then respond, I understand you feel that way, or I hear that's how you see it. Say it with genuine calm, without sarcasm or defensiveness. You'll notice the insulter often doesn't know what to do next. They expected engagement. You gave them acknowledgement without engagement. They're disarmed. Some will keep trying. Each time respond the same way. Eventually they'll give up or shift to actual productive conversation. This response protects your peace like nothing else. By understanding their feelings without adopting them, you've created perfect separation between their judgment and your self-concept. They can feel whatever they want. You remain undisturbed. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire where people constantly had feelings about his decisions. Some loved him. Some hated him. He understood all of it and let none of it control him. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." If you're ready to acknowledge feelings without absorbing judgment, write in the comments, I understand feelings without accepting attacks. Because when you can calmly understand how someone feels without letting it define you, you've achieved true Stoic freedom. If you've made it this far, you now know the 7 calm responses that disarm any insult. Thank you for sharing your perspective. I can see this topic matters deeply to you. Is there something specific you need from me? You're entitled to your opinion. I appreciate your honesty. That's an interesting perspective. What led you to that conclusion? I understand you feel that way. Now tell me in the comments, which of these responses will you use first? Maybe it's thanking them for their perspective. Maybe it's acknowledging their emotional investment. Maybe it's asking what they need. Maybe it's reminding them it's just their opinion. Maybe it's appreciating their honesty. Maybe it's asking for their reasoning. Maybe it's understanding their feelings. Write in the comments the response you're implementing first. This focused approach will transform how insults affect you faster than trying to apply all 7 at once. One response mastered completely changes your life. More than 7 responses are applied halfway. Remember to practice these responses in real situations. These aren't just words. These are tools that only become powerful through use. The next time someone insults you, choose one of these responses and apply it calmly. Then, notice what happens. Notice how their insult loses power. Notice how you remain at peace. The Stoics taught that words only have the power you give them. Marcus Aurelius wasn't hurt by insults because he didn't give them power. Epictetus was insulted as a slave, yet remained free internally because insults couldn't touch his mind. Seneca faced public humiliation with serenity because he knew insults revealed the insulter, not him. In 30 days, if you practice these responses consistently, you'll notice something profound. Insults will bounce off you. Not because you're thick-skinned or uncaring, but because you've mastered responding with calm intelligence instead of emotional reaction. You've become untouchable, but this requires commitment. One time using these responses changes one interaction. Consistently using them changes your entire relationship with insults. Decide now that you will no longer give insults power over your peace. I encourage you to subscribe, activate notifications, and comment so YouTube recognizes this content is valuable. I sincerely thank you for your time and support. Tell me in the comments which of these responses you're going to use first. I'd love to read your answers. I'll see you on our next journey.